to me, the most important one is the decision that we have accepted the offer of Germany to host the Global Geodetic Center of Excellence in Bonn on the UN campus. I think that's a very important decision because this is one of the elements where UN-GGIM is really adding value to the initiatives that were ongoing, but were facing some difficulties. So I really think that is a key decision of our 10th session.
Can you explain very briefly what will happen in the Geodetic Center of Excellence?
Well, the goal is to bring together a lot of knowledge which is spread around the world on the core activities necessary for the World Geodetic Reference System. And so I know that Norway will contribute to this center, Germany, of course, and other countries. And the goal is to make sure that we have a good coverage with primary stations able to help keep continuous monitoring and definition of the global world geodetic reference, which is of course very important for all the regional and national references. And this is an effort which is very hard for individual countries to keep up to level. So bringing the countries together can hopefully reinforce the investments that are needed for this.
It's a good example of some practical decision that UN-GGIM takes, some action that is happening. What do you feel is the progress of the whole UN-GGIM initiative at this stage of time?
Well, as you say, we see now several really decisions which lead to action. So in the beginning, it's a lot of talking and coordination and trying to understand one another, and it took some years to really get to a level where you see things really happening in the field. And I think that's why I pick this decision as a very important one, because it's one of those decisions where we don't only say, oh, this is what we would like to happen, but things are really happening there.
You have been involved from, well, the early stages of UN-GGIM. Did you expect this result after 10 years?
Well, I didn't really know the UN environment. I only knew that it was very complicated and very political. And I must say that even though some of the aspects, there's still a lot of formal issues especially when we are in the live UN environment in New York, which I think is not always really adding value, but I can understand why it is happening like that. But that's the only thing where I see this coming, because for the rest, it's very much working together with experts who really want things to move, to go on, and not so much a political environment where it's all about the dance of who says what and so on. So I think all the people around the table have one common goal, and that is to make progress in our field, and that's something you really feel and you really see also in the results. And I'm happy and I'm glad to work and to help in these achievements.
We've seen a virtual UN-GGIM this year. How did the preparation of the virtual UN-GGIM go?
Well, the problem was that there was no real example at UN level of how to organize a virtual meeting of experts. So this was all very let's say, very new. We were like how do you say that? The guinea pig. We were the guinea pig for UN. And I must say, things as a community, we had the experience of the virtual high level forum, which was run by Ordnance Survey in the spring. And so as a community, we were happy with, well, let's say happy. We could manage that. And that's I think the two things together made it possible for UN to take us as a guinea pig and work with us together. And I must say the people at the Secretariat have done a tremendous job, and the people of the board at that time, they have been preparing this very well. And I must say it was really very well organized, well prepared. Speakers were trained to use the systems and so on. And if you see how many people have been online during these 3 days, it's just magnificent. And so I must say I wouldn't say do this always like that, because I think it's important that we meet in person, but it is certainly um, uh, this kind of approach should be used more to prepare the meetings that we have.
What is a key takeaway for an organizer of a virtual conference in your view?
I think one of the things I liked a lot about this approach compared to being physically together in New York is that the preparational meetings that we usually have on Monday and Tuesday, those meetings were virtual and not on the same moment. So you had one day this meeting and then another day another meeting. Some of them were just let's say email exchanges or document exchanges, but the fact that you could participate in more than one, which is difficult when they are at the same time in New York, this I think it's certainly added value.
What is the success of UN-GGIM after 10 years?
Well, I think the most important achievement is that through UN-GGIM, we have been able to show to the world and to decision makers in the world how important geoinformation is in this data society that we are in today. And not only how important it is, but also that how important it is that government takes a role in that. You cannot just leave it to chance or to private sector as such. A government has to play a role in that, and I think that is something where UN-GGIM has created a huge advantage and a huge asset for governments to do something with that.
Now it's 2020. It's one of the most strangest years we probably experienced in the last few decades. Does COVID-19 impact project UN-GGIM?
I think in a way, yes and no. Let's say the no first. Well, the COVID pandemic didn't hinder us in organizing this UN-GGIM 10 session. So it it was not keeping us from continuing our work and our cooperation around the globe. So, but of course, it has a very big impact, and it certainly has a big impact on our community. And I think that's something that we have to see how to take that further. But also in the presentations that we had, we have seen some examples how the management of the pandemic crisis has boosted the use of maps for general communication and communication to the public. And so this is an opportunity for us to boost our own I don't like to say importance, but this is an opportunity for us to raise awareness on the importance of geospatial information, to communicate and to manage a huge load of data and to be able to transform this tsunami of data into relevant information which is easy to understand for people who have to make decisions. And I think that's something where this COVID crisis has impacted a lot the work that we do and the work within UN-GGIM, of course.